Silence campaign. And again, for those of you who haven't followed along yet, the Break the Silence campaign is to raise awareness and bring love and support to a topic that's not often talked about, and one that's really sensitive and painful, both physically and emotionally. And I'm here to hopefully help bring a conversation to such a sensitive topic through sharing of stories and learning from what others have experienced. And so I get to be a messenger in a world that has some beautiful stories that need to be shared. And so today I get to have the privilege of sharing Shayna Veldman's story, and she is not only somebody I would now call a friend, but a beautiful woman who I get to also call family. So I'm very excited to introduce you to her, and I think that you will find a lot of connection in her story and feel the power behind what she has shared today and how it applies not just to your life, but the lives of others around you and the impact that your story might have on someone else's life. So I am here to share her story with you, and I know you will enjoy it. And if you want to connect with myself or her later, just send me a message and we can get you in contact. Okay, enjoy.
So we are here today with our second interview for Break the Silence campaign. And I have the privilege of interviewing actually my hubby's cousin. So it's kind of special to be amongst family. This is Sheena. And this is baby Rowan. He has decided to join us. And we have Bucky! So I like to start our interviews with a prayer. So we will start off with a prayer and then we will get into it. So we just want to thank God for putting us together today and for inspiring this campaign. And we pray that His hands would be in it and guide us, and that this video and Shayna's beautiful story would reach those that it needs to reach, and that we give up all our control and that you would take over, God, and be with us today in our words and in our hearts. Okay. Are you going to share the story? What do you think?
Yeah, we'll see how you do, huh?
So I just want to ask you, like, this is going to be a conversation, like we're having coffee. So what was your life like before pregnancy?
It was good. I mean, Nate and I, we got married in May, and we didn't really want kids right away. I mean, Nate probably did, but I wanted to wait a little bit and just kind of get used to being married first. And so we just were having fun and getting used to being a married couple and all that. And then we did decide, based on kind of, it usually takes newly married couples like 6 months to a year to get pregnant. So we were like, okay, well, maybe we'll just kind of see what happens. And then we got pregnant right away. So it was very quick and very surprising. But
yeah, it's kind of like, not when it's planned.
Yeah.
So what was it like when you found out you were pregnant? What was that like moment? What did you feel?
It was really fun, but really shocking. Like I said, it was very quick. After we had decided to kind of just see what happens, it was like the next cycle. So I remember it was summer, and we were gonna have a barbecue for dinner, and I was gonna crack a beer, and I just had this weird, like, I don't know if I should drink this. And so I told Nate I was going to run out to the store and grab some stuff for dinner. And I ran out and got a pregnancy test. And I came home and I took it. And then it was like right away, it read pregnant. And I was so shocked. Like, I just remember looking at it like, is this right? Is this real? Like,
Yes.
and I was holding it and I came out and I looked at Nate and I was like, babe, we're pregnant. And he started laughing because he thought I was kidding.
No.
And I was like, no, I'm serious. Like, look at it. It's positive. We're pregnant. And then it was just, yeah, it was awesome. We were both, Nate was so excited and we were both really excited. I remember just kind of being dumbfounded for a little bit and then laying on my bed and started crying. Like, I was like, wow, like I'm going to be a mom. And yeah, it was pretty amazing.
It was amazing. You felt the joy.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Hi. What's the matter?
yeah, that's something that's interesting. Hey, it's just the moment that, like, yes, of course you want to be a mom, and that's kind of the intention when you're wanting to get pregnant, and then to still feel shocked, right?
Well, and it's funny because for me, I felt like I knew that I would want kids someday, but I didn't necessarily even want them then. Like, that sounds terrible, but
No, it doesn't. It's normal.
I knew it was something I was going to want, so I was happy to start trying, but I wasn't really necessarily wanting them then. And I think that's one of the things that losing that baby really changed for me, because then I suddenly really wanted kids.
Yes.
Then I was like, okay, now I want this because I had it and then it was gone. Right. So, read my hair. Kiss my hair.
So tell me about the moment of miscarriage for you.
So, as we were talking about earlier, for me, it was the morning of my 30th birthday. So I went to bed 29 and pregnant and happy. And I woke up, I think it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, 30 and bleeding. And it was so unexpected. And we had gotten pregnant so quickly. So you just assume everything's great. It's all going to work. Everything, you don't expect that. And I remember just kind of disbelief. I mean, it started slowly, just a little bit of bleeding. So you're not even sure for sure that you are having a miscarriage, you're bleeding and that's not good, but it doesn't necessarily mean, that the pregnancy's ended and so I remember just crying on the toilet, and Nate woke up from that and he kind of came over, and yeah, it was just a awful moment. And then I remember, because we didn't know for sure that we were losing the baby, like we called the walk-in clinic. It was on a weekend, and we called the on-call doctor, and we're just kind of talking through it with them. And they told me just to stay at home and take it easy. And so, if I needed to come in, I could. If the bleeding got worse, I could come in, that kind of thing. We had plans that night for my birthday with a bunch of our friends. And I just remember we were still kind of getting ready because nobody knew that I was pregnant. It was 7.5 weeks. So yeah, nobody knew that I was pregnant. And so I didn't know how to, hey, we can't go out for my birthday tonight because, we were planning to go to an escape room and do one of those things. And I remember just kind of getting ready for that and looking at Nate and being like, do I have to do this? And he was just like, no, we can easily call it off. But I didn't really want to tell anyone at that point. So we just told them all I wasn't feeling well, and we were just going to hang out at home. And yeah, just kind of called off the birthday plans and stayed at home for the night. And it was, I think, probably for a day or two that it was pretty light, and that, we kind of started to accept that, yes, this was happening. And then after that, it started to get worse. And yeah, went from there. So.
Do you ever feel like you wished you had told people right away, like that it would be better that they knew, even if you did miscarry, because if you did miscarry, you would have the support? Or are you glad you kept it?
Sometimes, yes. Like, I feel like when we were pregnant with Rowan, we waited because I'd had the miscarriage, and we thought, if it happens again, then, you know, we can kind of grieve and get used to it privately before everyone knows. But sometimes I think, no, then tell right away, because then you can actually get to experience people being happy for you before they're sad for you, you know?
Yes.
So part of me when we were pregnant with Rowan was like, maybe we shouldn't wait. Like, let's just tell everyone right away. And then that way people get to be happy for us and we get to, you know, hear congratulations rather than, oh, I'm so sorry. And so it was kind of I tossed it around back and forth. I feel like now that we've had Rowan, if we got pregnant again, I might tell a lot earlier, even knowing that it could still happen, right? You could still miscarry another one. But I think with the first one, yeah, I was sad that we didn't get any of the happiness from everyone else, but I was also glad that I had time to process it by myself first. We told our family privately fairly soon after it happened. We just let them know that unfortunately we were pregnant and this had happened, but we didn't really publicly talk about it for quite a while, actually. I think the first time that I really, like, we mentioned it to a few people, but I didn't, like, you know, put a Facebook post or anything until his due date. I say his because I have a boy now, but we don't know what we do.
Yeah. But it's interesting because I felt a girl and I wouldn't have known.
Right. Yeah, but you had an inkling?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, you might have an inkling.
No,
right?
I don't know. With the first one, I didn't really, I think I was just so shell shocked that we were pregnant that I didn't have a feeling either way yet. With him, I didn't strongly have a feeling either way, but I always referred to him as a boy. Okay. So I think maybe subconsciously I kind of had a feeling, but I didn't really. Like, I was like, oh, it could go either way. I don't know. But but yeah, I always said him and he, and we didn't find out until he was born. So yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, who's it?
So you kind of touched on my question about relationships. What is it that you wish people knew? Like, if you could look back and say, you know, I wish people just knew this when I was going through that. Like, maybe not knew about the miscarriage, but knew that specific thing.
Right. I think it was actually harder for me, not when I was going through it, in terms of that, but afterwards, when people did know that we had a miscarriage, I really wanted to be able to talk about the fact that I had been pregnant. Yes. But I felt like I couldn't because it made other people uncomfortable because they didn't know how to respond. Because we lost that baby, I wasn't allowed to say, oh, yeah, when I was pregnant, because then they felt awkward and uncomfortable because they didn't know how to react. So I had to not talk about it. And then I also felt like when we were pregnant with him, I had a hard time with people asking, oh, is this your first? Because I didn't know how to answer that because, yes, in a way, he is my first. You know, he's my first living child. But that other pregnancy was still so real for me that it felt like I was dishonoring that baby by saying, yes, this is my first, because I had another baby that I didn't get to hold. But again, makes people uncomfortable, makes them feel awkward when you say no. They go, oh, you have another one. Well, no, he or she's in heaven, you know, like, so it's just, I think that was harder. And I think if we could talk about that more for people, like allow them to honor that. I'm going to cry.
No, it's good. That's why we have the tissues.
Yeah. I cry too. But yeah, just, I think to honor that you had that baby, you know, that you were pregnant, that you know what it feels like, that you know that experience of, I'm pregnant. And, you know, even in those first 7.5 weeks, a lot of things change for you. Yes. Some physically, but a lot emotionally. And to have that as something that you can't talk about because it makes other people uncomfortable, I think that was really hard for me. So
I totally agree with you. Um, how do you proceed with the next question? I guess, like, what is life like now? Like, now you have a beautiful babe, and I kind of mentioned these questions a little bit earlier to you, but what does it look like? What was it like when you had the miscarriage, and then you felt like, okay, because you said, you realized, oh, I do want to have babes, like I'm ready. But then how did it feel when you were like trying again, and then when you were pregnant again after the miscarriage? Like, how was all of that?
It was a journey, for sure. I think that is more when, when we had the miscarriage, I had a lot of still really strong like faith in God that, he had a plan and a purpose for that. And there was a reason for it, even if I didn't understand it. And, that he authored that into my life for a reason. So I didn't struggle with a lot of anger surrounding that. But there were a lot of times where I angrily threw a negative pregnancy test in the garbage after that. So I think because we didn't get pregnant very quickly after. I mean, it wasn't long in terms of people who deal with years of fertility. It wasn't long. But sorry, we just put my baby in bed, so he'll be screaming in the background for a minute. So we were talking about just the time in between of getting pregnant and trying again after having the miscarriage. And I think we started trying pretty quick after, because like I said, it did create that desire in me to really like, now I really want this. And we weren't trying in the sense of calculating, and like really scheduling, but we just were hopeful that it would happen. And it took a while. And I remember I would take pregnancy tests even before I'd missed a period, like I wanted it so bad that I was like, well, they can test like 5 days before. So then I would take one 5 days before. And then I was like, well, maybe it was too soon. So I'd take another one. And I spent so much money on pregnancy tests that I did not need to be taking. And Nate was great. He just was like, you do it, like if that makes you feel better, like buy all the pregnancy tests you want, So, but yeah, I struggled with that. I was very grateful that I didn't get angry at other people's babies, or, that I could still enjoy that. And I know a lot of women don't have that. They get that anger at God, at whatever it is, when they see other babies. And I totally understand that. But I was really grateful that I didn't have that. I had a hard time with people who were due around my due date, or who had babies that would have been the same age, around the same age as mine. But I didn't get mad at other pregnant women, and I was grateful for that. But the negative pregnancy tests, that was really, really hard. So trying and not getting pregnant, that was just, that I think was one of the hardest things for me. And until the day that one was positive. And that was, again, you're just so shocked after so many negative ones. When there's one that's finally positive, it was just, you're just elated, and then, but still shocked, like disbelief, like, okay, is this real? Is this happening? Is it finally happening? And then another part of your question was the pregnancy, post-miscarriage fear. So much fear. I every time I went pee, almost until he was born, I was checking. You breathe a little sigh of relief when you hit that 12, 13 week mark, because that's when the real risk is over, or the higher risk is over. And then, when they hit a certain number of weeks and their lungs are more developed and they could survive outside your womb with less medical intervention, all those milestones, you get a little bit less worried. But still, right up until the very end, I remember just like every time I went to the bathroom praying, like, please let there not be any blood, just terrified. And then it doesn't stop. Once you have a kid, you're worried about a million other things. You're just always worried. From the second the stick says pregnant, you're worried. That's just mom life, I think. But yeah, it was quite a journey. Just a lot of different emotions and fear and trying not to be afraid, because you know that it's in God's hands and that He's in control of every part of it from the beginning to the end anyway. But yeah, scary time. And you're really happy, but you're also really scared.
Yes,
So,
absolutely,
yeah.
because there's so much uncertainty.
Is there any questions you have for me or anything you want to say to everybody?
Well, I want to hear all about your story, but I'm sure we can.
That's for another day.
Another interview. I don't know. I think it's a different process for everybody. I know I have friends who have had miscarriages, and they said the worst thing that people said to them always was like, "You're not alone. Lots of people have miscarriages," and they felt like that kind of diminished their own story. So it might be a trite thing to say that there are lots of people who go through them, but your story is your own. Your pain is your own, but there are people you can share it with if you want that. And I think for me, it was good to talk about it with people once I was ready. I was ready to just kind of share, and you're never prepared for it, no matter how much you know it's going to rock your world if it happens to you. It's just, it's not a quick thing. I think we were talking about that too, that people say, oh, she had a miscarriage, like it was this really quick thing that happened. They lost the baby. It's not. It's weeks. And not just emotionally, the physical part, it's weeks. And it's horrible. And you're not prepared for what's going to happen to your body. And even that is so different for everybody. Mine was fairly painless, but other people I know were crippled by the pain, the physical pain of it. And then there's the emotional pain on top of that. And it really, it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to go through. And yeah, I feel like having the ability to talk to people about it once I was ready was really helpful for me. So I think if you're struggling with that, find someone close to you if you can, and just reach out to them, and it might help to just kind of talk about what you went through or are going through, and it lasts a long time. You don't forget about it. Every time my due date rolls around and every time my birthday comes around, those are two really significant dates for me that I still get. It's easier now. It's been a couple years, and it's easier when the due date rolls around to just see it as a beautiful part of, like I got to hold that child from God in my womb for a little while. I got to carry them and know that and experience that. So it gets easier, but it's still hard. Yeah.
It's very special that child only knew your love. They never dealt with pain that happened on earth. They never dealt with all these things, right? Like, they just got love, just pure love, because you did nothing but love that babe.
Yeah. And now they're, like you said,
pain-free and back in love.
Yep. Perfect love. So yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you so much for sharing. It's really
Thank you
powerful.
for letting me.
Yeah. So if you want to reach out to Sheena, please talk to me, or we can leave her contact maybe at the end if you feel like her story resonated with you and you want to have a bit more conversation, or you want to take part, let me know. So from there, have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching. I just want to say that it takes a lot of confidence and courage to share a very vulnerable piece of yourself and a very vulnerable experience, and to bring this story to the world is really a gift, and it's really hard to do. So I just want to say a huge thank you to Shayna, because this is very impactful, and I think more ways than we even know right now. I have seen it in my own life, the changes in my experiences, and the ability to let God do His work by opening up and sharing. So I feel very passionate about this, and I just want to say thank you again.